Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always, told out of Voice of Radio. So today it's time to take a look at Arboliva EX. Now, I'm going to be honest with you dudes here. When this was initially revealed, and you can go back to the video where I talked about it, I could see the potential in it, but I did not think this was going to be a particularly good deck. Now, is it the best deck in the format? No. Is it going to become the best deck in the format? There's honestly a decent chance the answer to that is also no. Is it a viable deck which we've seen winning over in Japan, however? Oh yes. I've got a winning list to show you, and we need to have a chat about Arboliva EX because you know what? It's actually viable, it's actually good, and we need to actually start taking this a little bit seriously. Now, yes, it is a stage 2. We'll get to that. We got some tricks in a moment. And there is an attack here which is, frankly, a bit terrible. Free energy, 160, and it recovers from all special conditions. Yeah, no one cares. Like, we're playing 4 grass energy in this deck. We're not using this second attack. Nobody cares. We're good. However, what we do have is an attack for a single grass energy that lets you choose 6 of your opponent's Pokemon, or I suppose a better way to put it is choose one of your opponent's Pokemon 6 times. So you can choose the same one 6 times, 6 different ones, 1 time each, free 2 times each, 1 free, 1 2, 1 1, etc. And then what you do is every time you choose them, you deal 2 damage. Oh. Or 20 damage. That ain't bad. So what you could do is just do 120 to one of your opponent's Pokemon and they're gone. But what you could also do is go, oh, you've got a 70 HP Pokemon on the bench. Well, I'll do 80 to it to KO, so I'm picking it 4 times. Oh, I've still got 2 more selections, 2 times 20 to roll with. And the goal here is essentially to just spread damage around and try and make sure that you are taking out all of your opponent's Pokemon. Sounds good. It's not quite enough. Like, I'm not being rude here, I'm not being mean, this is not quite enough. This is the perfect kind of Pokemon, which if you can get this rolling in the first couple of turns, get this rolling nice and early, get a whole bunch of damage round on the field, and then bring in something else to do the heavy lifting. Arboliva softens them up. Other stuff comes in and takes them down. Well, wonderful news. We have 2 options. One of which is Dusknoir. Now, Dusknoir's got the ability whereby you can KO it to drop 13 damage counters, and that evolves from Dusclops so you can KO to drop 5 damage counters. But the theory here essentially is you're dropping a bunch of damage with Arboliva, so what you do is you soften them up with Dusclops and Dusknoir, get them down to enough HP remaining that you can finish them off with Arboliva, or the other way round, drop a bunch of damage with Arboliva now, next turn you evolve up into Dusknoir and use the ability to take them out and find your route to victory. That's the goal here. And that sounds pretty good. Now at this stage we need to just pause for a minute and talk about the Psyduck of it all. Because of course that new promo Psyduck we've talked about a couple of times on this channel, that's got an ability which basically says abilities that would make a Pokemon KO themselves don't work anymore. So if your opponent plays Psyduck, you cannot Dusclops, and you cannot Dusknoir, and this deck gets quite a bit weaker. But don't just discount it yet. Because remember, over in Japan, they got Arboliva at the same time as Psyduck. And Psyduck is going to keep Dusknoir decks in check for a little while. They cannot get that good, because if they ever get that good, more people will play Psyduck and they'll end up getting nerfed. Well, yeah. You see, we're not getting it with Psyduck. I've told you before, but with every reveal we get, it really does seem like if you go through all of the cards that have been revealed so far, you look at the numbers, you look at the likely set list, I mean, it was already incredibly unlikely, but now it really looks like we are not getting Psyduck in Destined Rivals. The fact that it's a gym promo that was released at the same time as Glory of Team Rocket honestly already told us we weren't getting it in Destined Rivals, but still. That means we are going to have a format that Japan is not going to have. We are going to have a format where we do have Arboliva, and we can play it with Dusknoir, but we don't have Psyduck. That means this is actually going to be a much better card in the Western meta than it is going to be in the Japanese meta, and that's kind of awesome, honestly. We love this. The other trick outside of this is your Blood Moon Ursaluna. And this one, I mean, this is just so perfect in this deck. Because here's the thing, right? You're not doing enough damage of Arboliva. But you're also not doing enough damage with Blood Moon Ursaluna. Blood Moon Ursaluna's great. It's a basic Pokemon and its attack gets reduced by 1 for every prize card your opponent's taken. But you only do 240. That's great for taking out basic EXs, single prizes, etc. But that's 80 away from getting something like a Dragapult. Well, great news. Put 80 onto Dragapult. And then just leave it there. Dragapult ain't doing much healing. Leave it on Dragapult. And then when you're at an appropriate number of prizes, your opponent takes 4 prizes, out comes Blood Moon Ursaluna to get a KO and finish it up. Blood Moon Ursaluna, the biggest issue with it is that you only do 240 and sometimes 240 just isn't enough. Well, what you can do here with Arboliva or even with something like Dusknoir or Dusclops, leave your opponent's relevant Pokemon in range of Blood Moon Ursaluna, and then of course every time you use something like a Dusknoir you give up a prize, and it means that you are 1 energy closer to using Blood Moon Ursaluna, for instance. Great in this deck. The fact that you can soften things up with Arboliva, give up prizes with Dusknoir, and then come and sweep with Blood Moon Ursaluna at the end, oh my yes. Now, in terms of other Pokemon here, Hawlucha is sneaky fantastic in this deck, because you're dropping multiples of 20. There's a lot of 70 HP Pokemon out there. A lot of 70 HP Pokemon out there. You drop Hawlucha, deal 10 damage to 2 bench Pokemon, take them from 70 down to 60, and then Arboliva can actually drop 60 onto each of them, and that's a double KO. It's not going to happen all the time, but if you go first, your opponent has a turn, they can't evolve. If you then get your Arboliva rolling immediately, yes, you can actually drop Hawlucha and get 2 70 HP Pokemon before they've had a chance to evolve. It's brilliant. We also play Badoo here to slow the game down until we're up and rolling. It's standard, a lot of decks play Badoo nowadays, but still, this is a very good candidate for it. We play Squawkabilly just to get rolling in the early game. Turn 1, you get to discard your hand and draw a new hand of 6 cards. Great early game consistency. C's playing a huge amount of decks. It works very nicely here as well. Similarly, Mew lets you draw until you've got 3 cards in your hand. It's a basic Pokemon. It's going to work very, very nicely. And then we've got Klefki, which is not a Pokemon that sees a ridiculous amount of play in a huge amount of decks. No, 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 no. It's got Mischievous Lock. While it's active, all Pokemon, basic Pokemon in play, have no abilities. So basically what we're looking at here is, I'm against a deck that needs abilities in the early game to start setting up. I'm going to pop this active. Very similar kind of thing to Badoo. I'm just going to take a turn or 2 until my Arboliva is rolling. When it is, I'm going to start softening up all of your Pokemon, and then I'm either going to finish them off with the Dusknoir line, or I'm going to start sweeping with Blood Moon Ursaluna as we get later into the game. It's brilliant. Now, in terms of trainer cards here, there's honestly just a lot of what you would normally expect. We are playing heavy rare candy here, which is not what we see in every Stage 2 deck nowadays because of Badoo, but we just really want that turn 2 Arboliva to start rolling along, and that makes perfect sense. And that's why your ace spec has to be Grand Tree. You have to play this as the ace spec. Some decks you have a real choice as to which one you want to go for. Here, I really don't think you do. Because what you can do is, once during your turn, search your deck for a Stage 1 Pokemon that evolves in your basic and evolve it. If you evolve that way, you can search for a Stage 2 that evolves and put it onto that Pokemon. Now, you cannot evolve a basic Pokemon during your first turn, or a basic Pokemon that was put into play this turn, i.e. you can't cheat evolution. What you can do, however, is you go first and you get a small live down, and then turn 2, Grand Tree straight up into Arboliva, you are rolling. It massively increases the chances of you getting a turn 2 Arboliva. And because it is so gosh darned important that you get your Arboliva out as fast as humanly possible, we need our Grand Tree. We also have to play Chorus's Tenacity. You search for a Stadium and an Energy and put them into your hand. This is often going to be your turn 2 play. Chorus's Tenacity, because actually, if you've just got a small live down, all you need is a Grand Tree to evolve up, and then a Grass Energy to attack. Chorus will get you both of them. Yes, I am well aware that leaves you more susceptible to Kyurem. This is a deck that cannot afford to worry about that. You've got to get your turn 2 Arboliva. Plus, of course, remember, if you're under a Badoo lock, you don't care. You can just roll with this and it really doesn't matter. But it's also really fun because you can KO the Badoo and you've still got 80 damage left to play with on the bench, which is lovely. Seriously, this can absolutely work. Here's a list as a whole, and you'll notice it's a lot of just consistency. We got Professor's Research, we've got Night Stretcher, we've got a bunch of Pokemon Search, free rare candy. A lot of this, other than the stuff I've shouted out, is exactly what you would expect to see in this deck. But the deal is we're playing free rare candy and we're playing Grand Tree with Chorus's Tenacity. And actually, this is why we can afford to play so few energy, because we're really building to try and use Chorus's Tenacity on the first turn or two. That means that we then have the luxury of playing fewer energy, knowing that we're going to be searching it out using Chorus's Tenacity. You spread damage of Arboliva, and then you finish them off with either Dusknoir, Dusknoir, or Blood Moon Ursaluna. And I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, it's been winning in Japan, it's got a real chance, and I cannot stress enough, with us having a format that's going to have this without Psyduck that Japan will not ever have, that does make things a little bit more spicy now, doesn't it? Right, that's what you need to know. And now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about this deck. Do you think it's legit? Go nuts in the comment section, but be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. And get shoutouts on the channel like the lovely Uncle Poker Peter, who's been a supporter of ours for a while now and is a very lovely person. So shout out to them for the support and the loveliness. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.